Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce ChamberCast. I'm Terrence Wall, and with our guest, Commissioner Director Tom Arnone. I want a round of applause for everyone, especially the folks that are in the audience. I want to extend our great appreciation to Ralph Zucker and his team at Inspired, the incredible work that they're doing here in Chicago and elsewhere. Please visit Bell.Works, bell.works. There's so much action going on. The block is open, folks. Come down soon. We're going to go around the room in a moment, but you know, it's January 2024. It's really hard to believe how time goes by so quickly, because it wasn't yesterday, right, that it was 1997 in Neptune City when you started your public service, right?
True.
Yeah, so
Thanks for the reminder there.
yeah, no. Well, if you live or work in Monmouth County, you already know the incredible bipartisan effort from the Monmouth County Board of Commissioners. And Tom Arnone, who we're going to be diving into a fantastic meeting in a moment, is in his fifth three-year term.
Yes,
am I right?
That's true.
Correct. Yeah, an incredible career of public service. So we're going to go around the room real quick so folks can say hello. And Commissioner Director Arnone and I are going to sit down, but we want to hear your name and your business. We have a fantastic crowd, so please, we're going to move very quickly through, and then we're going to share fantastic information that you can use from Monmouth County.
Sure, it should be a fun time.
Looking forward to it.
So we're just going to have our name and our business or our organization that we're from. Thank you.
Teresa from CSAV Systems.
Hi, I'm Kristen from America's Grow Row.
Jess from America's Grow Row.
Dr. Felicia Stoller with TrueSight.
Blue Garner, Blue Dream Cannabis.
Good morning, Jared Logan with Go for Hire. We do career services and recruiting.
This is our famous Ming, everybody, from a Shared Universe podcast. Woo!
Yeah, Ming.
Okay. Join us. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Brianna Rizzi, and I'm from the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Therese Rolke, Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Good morning, Howard Stein, Home Helpers.
Matt Doherty, tap into Asbury Park and tap into Belmar.
Welcome.
John Dobos from Transon Auction Properties.
Matali Vasa, CMIT Solutions.
Carla Scarabino, Girl Scouts of the Jersey Shore.
Kara Badger, Northeast Financial Network.
Laura Arena, Serve Pro, Team Harvey.
Tara Demyanovich, Outside the Box Gift, and Community Affairs Resource Center.
Good morning, everyone. Mike Chevalino, Executive Director at SCAN.
Good morning, Bonnie Preston, Conover Buyer Associates.
Erica Boyer, Financial Advisor at Edward Jones and Executive Board Member of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Prakash Vasa, Vasa Foundation.
Kathy Clayton, Principal at HBK CPAs.
Jack Straub, Keyport Bayfront Business Cooperative.
Good morning, Jeannie. Brian Foster, BFF Lending Services here in Homedale.
Mike Klein from Milestone Event Group.
Scott Bolio from Homedale Funeral Home. Joe Campy, King Financial Network.
Hi, I'm Jill Donovan from the Career Center at Brookdale.
Bill Kelly, Brookdale Community College.
Paul Thurston, Team Marketing.
I'm Joseph Carreri from Homedale High School.
Good morning, John Merla, representing Old Glory Kitchen and Spirits, McDonough's Pub.
Ethan Manovich, Homedale High School.
Hi, I'm Elliot Cohen, the Internship Coordinator at Homedale High School.
I'm Sophia Rizzo. I go to Homedale High School.
Joshua Armstrong, Send Out Cards.
Jim McNamara, Jersey Shore Blue Claws and Blue Claws Charities.
Tulika Hijli, Save on Drugs, Keyport.
Primanshu Hijli, Save on Drugs, Keyport.
Nick Sierra, PMI, Turnkey, New Jersey.
Pat Zilli, Carney Bank, Little Silver.
Sherry Scaramuzzo, Carney Bank.
Samantha Cortese, National Financial Network.
Paul Barone, National Financial Network, Hiring Manager.
Jack Slocum, Tap Into Local News.
John Chufo, Monmouth County Division, Economic Development.
Elena Wharton from Tap Into.
Good morning, Angela Ashley with the Jewish Home of Rehabilitation and Nursing in Freehold.
Good morning, Judy Musa, Mojo Collaborative Communications, Public Relations, and Marketing Communications.
Carolyn Burtnick, Monmouth County Tourism.
Trisha Wajda, Monmouth County Public Information. Lauren Brand, Monmouth County.
Michael Colarusso, Public Information.
Sarah Thelman, New Jersey Blind Citizens Association.
Al Aloisi, independent insurance broker, pianist, and tennis pro.
You always have to have a tennis pro in the chamber because there is no chamber good enough without a tennis pro. That's for certain.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Exactly. Monmouth County Commissioner Ross LeCitra. I'm here with Tom.
Did I miss anyone? And I'm Jeannie Wall, the owner of Hometown News Publishing for Tap Into. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, 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 everybody. So we're going to get into the origin story a little bit in a moment, but I want to just share a couple quick notes for those who are not familiar with the tremendous service of Commissioner Director Tom Arnone. He's serving his 5th 3-year term on the Monmouth County Board of Commissioners. You have 70 different departments in Monmouth County. By the way, all the county folks that are here, it's incredibly important and helpful that you're in this reimagined, gorgeous Bell Works. 70 different departments, and each elected official has certain areas of expertise, and Commissioner Director has been basically in all of them. Currently serving his another term, I guess, next year, right? Wow. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Liaison to the Department of Public Works and Engineering, Public Information, Tourism, Economic Development, and we're going to be talking about economic development. This is the Monmouth Chamber of Commerce, Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. So you're going to have news that you can use, your family can use, your business and your friends' businesses can use from this podcast that, by the way, is streaming live. Feel free to share the information. Feel free to share the video, take photos, and share it to your social media. Also, tourism, economic development, Office of Shared Services, a really big thing. We're going to talk about Homedale in a moment during this, about the famous horn antenna. And we had a podcast with Bob Wilson, famous Bob Wilson, incredible talent. Department of Transportation, Brookdale Community College, so fantastic that you're here today. What a fantastic college. The Prosecutor's Office liaison, as well as the Environmental Council, the Improvement Authority, and the Shade Tree Commission. He's been involved in shared services, the Healthy Monmouth Initiative that brings together students. And thank you to the students that are here. You're the next generation of leaders. Round of applause for our students that are here today. So many different things. We're going to dive right into it because how much can you fit into an hour with so much service? Can you share with us what inspired you originally to get involved in public service and go over that arc of time a little bit?
So that's pretty easy. You know, I've always had a passion to be in public office, and it was amazing because the people that I surrounded myself with had absolutely no interest whatsoever in that. And every time I used to say that, when I was in high school or so, I would say it, and they were like, yeah, right, blow me off. And quite frankly, if you knew me way back into those early years, the last person you would think would be sitting up here is myself. And I could say I enjoyed myself in my young years very much. So the last thing you thought I was going to be was an elected official. But how it started, ironically, and I always look at the youth as being the component to starting a career. And I was a coach, and I have a very big passion for athletics. I coached for many, many years, many, many different sports. During that period of time, obviously, when you're in that political world, the one thing, if you're touching parents and you're touching them, it's a good start to get elected. And we had a situation in Neptune City where an individual unfortunately passed away, and they had to fill the seat. And I'll never forget, and it was many, many years ago, that the mayor came to me and said, would you be interested? And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I don't stand a chance. Well, ironically, I did, and I served on the council for Neptune City for 7 years. And then I became mayor in the town that elects their mayor, a borough form of government, as we have here today, the former mayor of Belmar, Matt Doherty, here, that gets elected there. Not every municipality has that. Some of those municipalities, you rotate that period of time with your council, and you're picked by your colleagues. But at that period of time, I was mayor for 8 years, and I decided that the opportunity came up probably a few years before, but I'm a big proponent of finishing what you start. And I always turned it down. And then it came the time where I said, you know, you can only turn something down so many times, and then they're not going to come back and ask you again. And that's exactly what happened when I chose to dive into to the ring of, at that time, not commissioner, freeholder. And we could talk a little bit about that a little later on the name change, because it's somewhat confusing. And so it was something that I always had a passion about. And as I go along with this, I will tell you, sitting in the seat along here with my colleagues and most importantly, Ross Citra here today, it is by far the most rewarding position to hold in all of government, and I truly mean that, in state government, to hold, to be on the commissioner board, because as you touch so many municipalities. Unlike, and take nothing away from the assembly seats and the Senate seat, they have their group of towns that they govern over, and they legislate there, and they do a great job. I don't want to discount the work that they do, but we actually touch the people, and that's really was my main passion to get into politics. I actually wanted to help. I want to get that phone call, person needs a job, needs some help, can you help my son, can you, my son is looking to go in this career, can you help a business, can you help the municipalities? All those things were the reason why I chose to go into now the commissioner world, unlike maybe doing something different.
Commissioner, you're talking about business, and the folks here, they're all about business. You're also familiar with business through the arc of time. You understand running a business, fostering a business, building clientele and things. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because that's the life that many folks are working on right now. They're trying to build their businesses, and that's part of the reason they're part of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. It's about networking and building and growing. Can you speak to that?
Sure. So the one thing that when I was mayor, and probably was a little different, and no, it was a lot different than it is today, and the one reason I wanted to run, and take nothing away from our predecessors on the freeholder board years ago, but there was a disconnect between the state, the county, and the municipalities. And truth of the matter is, when I was mayor for 8 years, I never heard from a freeholder. You had your 3 separate tax bills there. You had your obviously the state, you had the county, and then you had the municipality there. They were all lumped into obviously going out of the municipality, but you never had that assistance. And I vowed that the one thing I wanted to do was have the most robust shared service program, and more importantly, touch our businesses. And the reason for touching the business is because I've had the ability to see both sides of it, small and large. For 33 years, I owned a landscape hardscape company based out of the Shore, and got my hands very dirty, worked real hard, saw what it was to make payroll, deal with the challenges for a small business. And about 13 years ago, I sold that business, and I'm the senior vice president for a development company that does development all through the state of New Jersey and outside the state of New Jersey, and I also have a homeowners association business. So the difference is just bigger dollars. The challenges are the same, whether you are a small business or a large business. It all is challenges that you have to try to overcome there. And I felt that there was not really a connection to probably the most important part of our business climate here in Monmouth County, and that's our chambers. Because, quite frankly, Ross, myself, and the rest of the commissioners, we cannot get the word out to everybody. With all the amount of people, the 630,000 people that we have here or more, there's no way we're going to get that word out. But if we have these chambers throughout Monmouth County, getting our word out there, but most importantly, getting our word out there with us helping them get the word out, with the resources getting the word out, that was the main focus.
And speaking of resources, we really appreciate your economic development team being here, the staff. And raise your hands if you're part of the programming at Monmouth County and you work. So folks, round of applause, economic development.
Yes.
So bring
Thank you.
Right, so and how do you navigate that with 53 diverse municipalities, urban, suburban, rural? How do you navigate that and get the folks together with your teams? And what are some of the advice that you give the business owners here? And that segues into Made in Monmouth, Grown in Monmouth, Brewed and Distilled in Monmouth, and some of the programs you have going on.
So it's something really, it's very difficult. Monmouth County is unique from our neighboring counties and all other counties because we have 53 municipalities here. We go from Upper Freehold to Sandy Hook to Aberdeen to Brielle. So think about that geographic area there, and think of the quality of life that people have in those areas. So, for example, when we're sitting and we're talking about economic development and growth, and you're in Upper Freehold, They want nothing but horses, farms. We don't need to see the congestion. We don't want any of that commotion out there. Unlike you're in Asbury, Long Branch, Red Bank, the areas that want to see that economic growth, want to see that traffic, want to see that area. So it's a very tough tough one to navigate how to work with each and every one of them. And that's why some of our programs, which we'll get to, especially Grown in Monmouth, touches both types of industries there. So that's really, it's not easy. I credit my staff, our staff here. We have the best staff in Monmouth County. By far, hands down, the most dedicated people that you could ever imagine working for each and every resident here in Monmouth County.
Yeah. Yes, and so many residents. It also includes folks that are so critical to the success and vibrancy of Monmouth County. And that also includes the folks that keep us safe, police, fire, first aid, and a nod to our veterans. These are programs that you have ongoing at the county. Can you speak to that? Perhaps the integration with the Sheriff's Office, sure. Sheriff Sean Golden and his fantastic work as a CALEA certified organization. These are top organizations, folks. Can you speak to that side? Because folks come to municipalities, they choose to move because they want to they need to be safe. They're looking for good schools. They're looking for recreation, open space, parkland. We could talk about also that piece of what makes Monmouth County great. I grew up here. I know what makes Monmouth County great. We're proximate to New York and Philadelphia. Gorgeous beaches, incredible parks. And right here in Homedale, for the folks that don't know, the matriarch of Homedale, Addie Holmes Lubkert. Her maiden name is Holmes. An incredibly fantastic woman who's no longer with us. We actually, the district owns, and we're looking at repurposing the home for perhaps special education, life skills, or also connectivity to the Duncan Smith Theater. And we could talk about Homedale partnerships as well as other municipalities. But can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure.
What makes Monmouth County great?
So the one thing that I am so fortunate enough to have a board that we're all on the same page. And we'll get into a little bit of the budget restraints that go on over 53 municipalities and the amount of dollars needed to be spent. But the one thing when we sit at the table from the beginning of the year, and the two items that come up, public safety, again with our great leadership from Sheriff Sean Golden, which quite frankly, we don't know how fortunate we are to have a sheriff with the knowledge, the IT knowledge, the technical knowledge, and the police background that he has running our county through the Sheriff's Office. We're very fortunate. And then we do not slight nothing when it comes to the dollars when it comes to public safety there, because that's the backbone of why people want to be in Monmouth County. But then there's another component, and that's our education. And Monmouth County has the best county schools in the state of New Jersey. I mean, and of course I'm going to say that, of course Ross is going to say that, but statistics show they're ranked number in the top in the country. And that is high tech, biotech, mass, wall communications, allied health. We slight nothing when it comes to those dollars. And then we have the best county college in the state of New Jersey, by far, with Brookdale Community College. What Dave Stout and his staff is doing there is remarkable. The creativeness, the innovativeness, the going with the times through the period of what our county needs is remarkable. We have those partnerships with all of them, but the one thing that they need is they need our financial support. And we slight nothing when it comes to that, and that falls back onto what you said, the success of the county.
Yeah, and in the county, it's a big county, 643,000 residents approximately now, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you have different areas from the commissioner level, and it's interesting you talk about freeholder versus commissioner. Well, I pause to get the language correct. Why don't we talk about that that name change, and get into the areas like north, south, east, and west. Maybe there are unique areas, because this is the Monmouth Regional Chamber. We want to speak to each area of the county. Are there certain unique characteristics that you find?
Yes, absolutely. So it is kind of funny, the name change of freeholder. That was a very controversial period of time. I personally was totally against it in the beginning. Quite frankly, now looking back, I actually like it. And I guess the thing that was most confusing, and if you think about this, Monmouth County is the only county that had the issue, because we're the only county with a freehold in our county. So we had freehold, we have Freehold Township, we have Freehold Borough, we have Upper Freehold. So I'll never forget the day that, and I still reside in Neptune City there, the day that I left being mayor there for years. I had a great time being mayor. I was never challenged. It was a great election. As long as I voted for myself, I won. And it was fabulous there. But when I left there, I'll never forget people saying, "Oh, are you moving to Freehold?" And because people had that little bit of confusion there. So the commissioner side, for the reasons that they had, the commissioner side, looking ahead, I actually do enjoy it. I think it's the right name for it, and at the end of the day, people will be used to it for the period of time. Of course, the old timers that were freeholders back then, they don't like it. But at the end of the day, we'll get used to it, and it's just a name and a name only. But getting back to the east-west, north-south period of the county, Monmouth County, like I said before, is so diverse, and that's what makes us who we are there. And, and the one thing that I'm so proud of, and I know Ross is so proud of, is we work for 53 municipalities. And when I say we work for 53 municipalities, we work for each and every one. And unfortunately, okay, the other side of the party, our Democratic towns, municipalities, need some more assistance than others in some areas, heavily populated, and they just need the assistance. We're there to help them. And the one thing that we're proud of, and when we run for election, and you see what goes on with our neighboring towns, the outpour support of the bipartisan support that comes out of that just shows that during that period of time, not the silly season of October and September that goes on, but the other 10 months that goes on, that people appreciate what we do working on a bipartisan way. It's the only way things are going to be successful here in Monmouth County.
100% true, of course. And the campaigning and governing are completely opposite worlds.
I despise the campaigning.
Yeah,
100%.
But you can't be successful generally, particularly in a really a bipartisan county. Folks, you have registered Republicans, registered Democrats, and undeclared voters. You can't be successful unless you are truly working for everyone, and which is a mark of success being in your fifth, three-year term. How do you bridge those gaps when you're working with different communities and maybe they have a false impression where someone's a Republican or Democrat? How do you break through and say and so folks understand, you know what, he does work for me, and the commissioners, they do work for me, and the team, of course, works for everyone.
Well, it's actually tough decisions that you have to be able to make tough decisions. And we'll talk about some of those tough decisions that we had to make, and probably at that period of time, not the most popular one. But it all starts first thing with your financials. And that's at the pinnacle of the pyramid, the top of the pyramid there. And I could say when I started here, and right now I'm the longest standing commissioner there, that our budget in Monmouth County was $492 million. That's what the budget was to run this county. Today, that was in 2011, our first budget, my first budget there. Today, 2023, our budget is roughly hovering around $494 million. Literally $2 million, and that's increases that go across, increases throughout inflation, all those different areas, okay, that we were able to balance that budget. In comparison, okay, not to slight the state of New Jersey, but I'll just give you a comparison there. That same period of time, the budget was $33 billion. Today, the same period of time, their budget is $53 billion. So that, and people say, well, how can you do that? Is it creative budgeting? It's not creative budgeting. What it is making tough decisions. The one thing that we did that I personally didn't agree with back then was the amount of utilization of fund balance. And that is money that's regenerated. Well, I looked at that, and I saw that we were utilizing roughly $44 million of surplus every year to offset our budget. Well, I was looking to see how much we were regenerating, and the regenerating number was roughly anywhere from $34 to $36 million. Well, obviously, that's unsustainable. That is someday, it might not be us, But it will be our children, our grandchildren, or somebody is going to pay for that someday because it's not going to be sustainable. I can honestly say this board, we took a plan because we couldn't hit that drastic cut, so we started to utilize less, $3 million a year out of that fund balance till we got down to what we do in our own home. We spend what we make. And that's the proper way to live your life. And that's the proper way we feel we should live our life. And that's the proper way we think we should budget. This was the first year we utilized $34 million out of our fund balance surplus. People call it different names. We regenerated $36 million. So we are back on a track where we're spending what we're making. And it started there. And now we can branch out to the programs that we need. And people say, well, how can you do that? It's a simple model. We have 53 partners. And our 53 partners are our municipalities. And they have a budget too. But guess what? Each and every one of you here only get one budget. Sometime in July, you get a paper. Of course, you blame your mayor and council for it, but it's not their fault. There's a school board budget there, there's the mayor and council budget, and then there's the county budget. But if at that period of time, we thought, let's just two of us work together to see if we can have a cost savings. And that's exactly what we did. And it's a simple business model. You have the dogs come to the meetings, but that's a fan. I like that. So Ross brought him there. So what it was is just treat it like a business. So what we did is we are the only, I mean, there might be now, I'm not quite sure, but we were the only county for a very long period of time that actually had a shared service coordinator. What that shared service coordinator's job was to be in touch, hold hands with each and every municipality, mayor, council, administrator there. So if you need something, we could offer that service. Let's see how we can make it work. So and we used it as a business, a cost saving to the municipality, and then we used the revenue to plug into that one tax bill that you get. They saw the cost savings for that service that they would have used to reduce from that one tax bill, and we ended up seeing a double savings there. Perfect example, a small example, is years ago I had a small municipality call me, and they were taking a gigantic tree down in their front yard, in their front of their municipal building. So the mayor called me up, said, will the county do it? And I said, well, you do me a favor. You go out and get a price for it first so we see what it is. The price came in at roughly like $3,500. And I know this is a small example, $3,500. So I said, okay. They said, what is your model? Our model is only, we have a prorated amount, what our staff will cost to go do that function. There. We're just offsetting our costs there. So those are employees we already have. We're offsetting our costs, and we charge them. It cost them $900 for the county to do it. So look at that number, what the town saved, what we gained. We plugged it back into a budget, and it's just a business model that each and every one of us in business do. And it's just common sense. It works. Our shared service with, obviously, Sheriff Golden, with our 911 dispatching, state-of-the-art building, investment that the county did there. But what does it give? It gives a great service to our municipalities, and we probably have out of the 53, we probably have over 40 or more in there that gets dispatched from our county dispatching, and it's a revenue source, but a major, major cost savings to those municipalities to join services with the county.
And you know, you're being modest, not referencing a very important item that also helps enhance the tax structure and tax stability for all the municipalities, the Monmouth County Improvement Authority, and your AAA bond rating. Can you share how that interacts with the local municipalities to help them with their capital projects?
So like I talked about before with the way we structure our financing, most counties, not every county, has an improvement authority. Everybody treats it different. We treat our improvement authority to help and assist ourselves in purchases and our municipalities. And now we're doing it to school boards there. But what does that really mean? Well, we're the only county in the state of New Jersey that has a AAA bond rating from all three rating agencies. And what does that do? That means we're pretty much borrowing money or purchasing equipment, which we all know we have to do here, at the lowest amount of interest you possibly can have. But what does that also add? It also adds to all 53 municipalities. They borrow off our credit rating. And what it does, it gives them the less, it costs them a lot less there that they're passing on to their constituents because of our interest rate there. It is a home run. We're recognized not just in the state of New Jersey, but in the country with our bond rating. And when we say we tout this here, we do tout this here. But I do have to share that our predecessors before started this program there, and we might have just taken it and advanced it through the times here.
And when you hear about county funds and county stability and fund balance, it's your balance.
So it's funny you say that. So there's a kind of rule of thumb in government when municipalities and counties and state are budgeting. And it's this thing called, well, let's add a little bit more money in this line item. Let's add a little bit more money in this line item. Well, quite frankly, budget what you need and what you actually need to operate, okay? Because if you're guessing or anticipating that you're going to need that number, you're actually creating a savings on the taxpayer's back there. It's their money. It's not our money. We're obviously getting that funds from you guys there. So why should I take the chance and save your money in my bank account? You save the money in your own bank account there. That's where it should be. And that's been the model of us. And don't get me wrong. There's period of times we could fall a little short, but we'll learn from that lesson and we'll budget accordingly the next year.
Well said. Thank you. Question for you. For the municipalities, and we have some municipal officials here, and for the business owners that can take this back to their municipalities, what are some of the areas where municipalities perhaps are not quite aware of opportunities to partner with the county? Had they done a deeper dive into it, what are the areas that they should connect and perhaps are missing that mark, not quite aware of the programs?
So there was a disconnect a little bit with some municipalities on knowing some of the services we had. That's kind of changed a lot now, and that all probably was created after COVID. And I'd like to touch a little bit on COVID because it touches a little bit to the chambers.
So Monmouth ACTS as well.
And Monmouth ACTS. But the actual financial component side, so the federal government has this ability to just print money. And it's not a bad thing, I guess, if you could do it. But they just do it. And now when I tell you they print money, they print money. And just imagine this. Imagine sitting in a seat one day and getting called from your boss, in this case, this was our administrator, call up and say our CFO is like in a state of shock. And I said, how come? And he said, because they get these alerts. And as people we do in our own bank accounts, get some sort of alerts if there's some crazy activity that goes on in your bank. We just were alerted that we just had a deposit of $106 million in our bank account. And that's when COVID started. And I said, $106 million. And we didn't know what to do with this money. Well, ironically, the state of New Jersey contacted us, Governor Murphy and his staff contacted us on to have a call of all 21 counties. And how it worked out was the call came on, and 9 of the counties received that money because you were over a population of 500,000. The other ones that were under 500,000, the money went distributed to the state, and they will administer it accordingly. Well, when we got on the call, the governor and his staff, not just the governor, his staff, they felt that we should send that $106 million to them, and they will administer it to Monmouth County. Now, we know better, and I know you don't know me well here, a lot of you, but that wasn't going to happen there. And it did not happen, and we had some robust conversations on that, but the money stayed here because the money was going to stay in Monmouth County. And people say, well, what were you going to do with that money? Quite frankly, at that period of time, I didn't know I could ever, along with our commissioners, spend $106 million. But I have to tell you, when you have it, it's pretty easy to do. But because you have, and why is that? Because we had just what we were talking about, our 53 municipalities. First thing we did is we got on a conference call with all of our municipalities. And we told them from this date on, any COVID-related expense that you should receive, we will take care of. So imagine that, 53 municipalities. In June, September, and December, we had disbursements there where they sent all their receipts. And I know the Deputy Mayor, Brian Foster, is here today, and he could tell you firsthand. They sent their receipts in, and we reimburse them there for that money. But what were we actually doing? We were helping the taxpayers, because the taxpayers were going to pay that bill if the town didn't have that money there. So that we felt it was staying here in Monmouth County. We gave out roughly anywhere from $28 to $30 million in that period. Then we decided the biggest thing we were doing was our small businesses. We met regularly on conference calls with all of our chambers, and we said, how can we help? We came up with a plan to keep these doors open. We gave twice in $10,000 increments grants, forgiving grants, to all of our municipalities. I will tell you, and I'm sure the chamber will acknowledge, that some of our businesses, it kept their doors open. It literally saved those doors. And you know, and I hear it, and COVID's been going for a while now, and we basically hear it every time we walk around. A business will say, hey, you know, thank you for that money. You know, tell the commissioners, thank you for that money. There, believe me when I tell you, that kept our doors open. And then we had our nonprofits, and it's something that we're very, very proud of here in Monmouth County, because we're 5 people, okay, and we have a great employee base of 3,000 people. We cannot do all the work, but our nonprofits could be part of those that assist us there. Yeah. And what we did is we put a plan together to fund our nonprofits there, to keep their doors open, to be able, because at that time, their doors were completely shut there. So we assisted them. And then we could talk about the next disbursement that came, because like I said, the federal government could just print money. A year later, there was another $60 million. And what we did is we looked at the really important groups that were suffering. The businesses were back on their feet, okay? Times were changing for the better there, but the nonprofits and some of the areas that needed the help, the special needs population, the veterans population, the animal welfare population, all those areas that needed help, food welfare, helping the food banks and all those areas. Those are the areas that we decided to then generate our focus on, and that's what we did with the money. I will tell you this, sitting here to show the bipartisan side of it, I was contacted by 5 to 7 Republican legislators telling me that we were doing the wrong thing. That money should go to the state and they should be administering it. It didn't matter what party they were. That money was staying here in Monmouth County. It wasn't going to Newark. It wasn't going to Plainfield. It wasn't going to Camden. It wasn't going to Ocean County. It wasn't going to none of those counties. The money was meant for Monmouth, and it was staying in Monmouth. And I can honestly say that we had like $340 left after it was all done. But other counties gave the money back. And when I say gave the money back, they gave it back and it went into areas. It did go back to like save your taxes. That was already spent and allocated for. Okay, it went to areas that didn't help their people. And that was something that we're very, very proud of.
That's an incredible story. How are we doing so far, folks? Good. You know, you hear Monmouth County Board of Commissioners, but if you're listening here this morning, it's the Monmouth County Board of Advocates, folks that are fighting for you every single day in Monmouth County. You know, you referenced the work. It was a fantastic segue that I was going to do myself, but natural, Director Arnone, to nonprofits. Nonprofits are the backbone, the lifeblood of the community. And with the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce and the ChamberCast podcast, if you go back and you look, and by the way, as I referenced earlier, it's streaming live, they're archived. Incredible, incredible work of the nonprofits are regularly highlighted here. And it's so important. And for all of us, there are certain nonprofits that we're very passionate about, and for whether it's our own individual experiences or experiences through others, or just feeling a passion about a certain issue. And you have issues that are passionate to you as well. Two nonprofits that mean a lot to you. I'd like for you to share that, because that's a really important component of what we do. And if you wouldn't mind sharing that story.
So it's not all about government. And obviously a lot of people have their special passions, stuff that are close to their heart. So I guess it was it was 11 years ago, because we just had our 10-year anniversary. 11 years ago, a friend of mine passed very, very quickly from pancreatic cancer. And fortunately enough, I had a friend of mine that we worked hand in hand. Another example of a bipartisan type of endeavor, his name was Eric Hotelling, and he was at Assemblyman in District 11 there, and I was obviously commissioner. He's Democratic legislator. I'm a Republican commissioner. There, both of us had a passion for this. We put our heads together and started a nonprofit called Pound the Pavement. This nonprofit now it just finished its 10th year anniversary, and all it is, it's a 5K run at the end of September. All the money goes to the Lustgarten Foundation. Lustgarten Foundation is a foundation out of Long Island that was created by, and I forget his name, Lustgarten, but it was something to do with Madison Square Garden. They're one of the owners of Madison Square Garden. And he created it because the individual Lustgarten passed away, and he was part owner of the Madison Square Garden with the rest of the group there. And they created this nonprofit. All this money goes to research, no administrative cost. So we started this race, and we probably had 75 to 100 people our first year there, and we probably raised $15,000 so there. Well, this year, same race, we had, and it's the last Saturday in September. It's over, starts at the headliner, goes all along the beautiful Shark River, and then comes back. And we sent the Lustgarten, after that race, $90,000. This is our 10th year. We've sent them close to $650,000 that we've sent them. We're the only government, because we consider it Neptune Township, Neptune City, and Monmouth County joining for this nonprofit. We're the only one that gets publicized in their nonprofit there, and it's something I'm very proud of. Then the other one that you were talking about was something that started roughly about 11 years ago. And I sit on a board for a school called the Monmouth Ocean Foundation, and it's for special needs, students with special needs. So we would have a meeting the last Friday of the month, and it'd be right outside the window there, and the buses would pull up, and all the students would come out, all the faculty and the teachers would come out and get the students that obviously needed assistance coming in with the disability that they had. They would go in there. As time went on, I always wondered that, what happens? Obviously, I know the school districts in all the municipalities are funding that until they turn 21. It's their obligation, as it should be, their obligation to fund that there. But what happens at 21? And when I tell you, and there's no exaggeration here whatsoever, it is like the light switch that goes right off. Funding stops, school stops, everything stops. So just imagine, I thought about this, and it didn't personally affect me at all. And I thought about this. So what happens to a person that's, middle-aged, husband and wife are working, and they obviously have a challenging life because, their loved one they're giving full attention to. That not only does that stop, but now one of those parents probably have to stop working because they have to take care of their young adult there. I thought it was unbelievable that our country and our state and our county doesn't have something for that there. So this is outside the political world. We came together and we wanted to start a school. I can't call it a school because it falls out of the Department of Education and it falls into the Department of Human Services because they're over 21. And I know none of the educational component side. My goal Our goal was to get this up and running. And we have this up and running. Construction, fast forward many years. We have a site. It's on the Brookdale campus, behind Brookdale. And if people say, and I know a lot of people might say, well, you know, did you use your political side to get this done? Absolutely. I absolutely 100% did. And it's something I'm proud of. And if I want to be challenged for that, that's fine. Let it be. And because it's for the right thing. It's not affecting Tom Arnone. It's not affecting none of my commissioners there. But they all support it. It's called Achieve Academy. It hopes to open up January of 25. Construction is just about done. We're renovating an existing trailer. We're about to hire an executive director. And with the help of Brookdale Community College, which is also assisting in it, Dave Stout is also on my board there. We have a good chance of doing something really special. Will we help 20 young adults, 25, 30? Yes. Will it do the big gamut of what is actually needed here in the county? Probably not, but it's a start. And maybe people can follow suit with that.
And in each town, you can also find your own path to help the special education community. It needs to be forthright and full on. Right in Homedale, Addie Holmes Lubkert, who I mentioned, a matriarch of Homedale, the property the schools sit on, the high school, where we have our meetings, that's a product of their contribution to Homedale Township that many folks aren't aware. There's a little white house out front. Some folks think it should be demolished. Some folks think it doesn't even need a paint job. Well, there is a paint job. It's not going to be demolished. I'm only one voice, but I volunteer as the president of the Homedale Board of Ed. We're talking about setting up in conjunction with, and there are programs right here in Bell Works that partner with Homedale schools and do fantastic work for our students. But if that facility, depending on the full board, I'm just one voice, can be a life skills location, I'm told from the folks that work in the school that those are dreams to have those locations, that districts are looking for the means and methods to help develop those life skills, so that switch is never off. And that's a goal and objective, and that's when things really matter. So if any of those topics resonate with you, push through them, because if someone has some authority and responsibility and ability to help folks who need your help, that's why we're here. So go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No. I see all the business climates here, yeah. and I hope we're going to touch a little bit on some real passionate things. I know one of your favorites is the Grow Monmouth initiative.
Yeah. So I want to let's go into Grow Monmouth, and also let's talk about tourism. An enormous industry here that touches on a number of the businesses of the Monmouth Regional Chamber, and let's tie right directly to economic development and tourism, these
Sure.
programs, and then we're going to open up to questions, and then we're going to talk about the next big thing before we close.
So basically, tourism and economic development are the driving source and the backbone of our success here in Monmouth County. Obviously, tourism is gigantic here. We've taken it to another level here with Monmouth County and being promoters. That's what our goal should be. Promoters to everybody thinks of tourism as just our beach towns. And a majority of the time, that's what it is. Huge revenue generator. Probably $29 million of revenue or more will come in to the county there. Many jobs, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs. Okay, keeping businesses vibrant in all areas, from lodging to the restaurants, to all those areas. But it also does come out here and to the western part of the county. It goes out there. It's a big component side. It's the ag industry that goes along with that. So what we tried to do was to tie in the tourism component side with the economic development side. And we created some great programs there. And I know they're great programs only because the only way you could tell those programs are really good is when people copy them. And that's the way I always look at it. And we created a program, and John Chufo, that's here today, started 11 years ago with me with or 12 years, I don't even know how many years ago it was. It feels like a long time. That we started a program called Grow Monmouth. People is like, what is Grow Monmouth? And Grow Monmouth was the start of what was all created to help the businesses. And basically what it was to help our business climate navigate through the regulatories that they needed to go through to get approvals, and to let them know if that municipality wasn't in their master plan or their vision, you know what? Move on. Don't spend that. Don't put those expenditures that you would cost there to get turned down. So that's where it all started, but many things spun off it. And so I will tell you that started. Soon as that started, all of a sudden, our state comes out with Grow New Jersey. So we now, we're doing something right here because they're following us. Then we started a program called, and something we are very, very proud of, called Made in Monmouth. And for the people that are not familiar with Made in Monmouth, please, on April 27th, just take a little visit to Brookdale Community College there, and you will see something that you have never seen before. We, as the county, offer our venue, the county venue, free of charge to our businesses, roughly over 200 or more businesses there. We give you a diagram where you're at. We set up your table. You come in, you sell your merchandise, you market your merchandise, and you have a successful day. I will tell you, 5,000 to 6,000 people were there. I think it was December 14th, somewhere around that area. It was there. We used to do it once a year. The outcry is overwhelming that now we do it in December and we do it again in April there. And we are packed, sold out. As soon as it comes out, it is packed. The people love it. People tell us it's the #1 Saturday in these small businesses. If you're a small business, you know your resources are limited there to where you could put your funds in. So, that's where government has to step in and try to help you. How can we help you? The county's a little different than, say, the state of New Jersey that can give these grants out. We can help by marketing and promoting you, something that you might not want to do or you cannot do. But we talked a little bit about the different parts of our county, being in the ag industry and being down in our heavily populated restaurant areas and all those areas there. So we created a thing called Grown in Monmouth. So what that basically is let's take those two components and let them work together so that we're helping all the industries here in Monmouth County. So how it works is if our great ag industry, where we grow vegetables, produce, and all those areas that we grow out there in the western part of the county, if our businesses out there down by the shore utilize that merchandise, we will market you, both businesses, the farming industry and the restaurant and whatever restaurant industry, we will market you. We have this placard that goes in there, Grown in Monmouth products there. People are very proud of that. And it's another way for us to market it. And so we're always trying to think of ways to help, even if they're little ways. We created a facade program. What that was HUD money that comes into our municipalities. Not all of them, but comes in there, and there's money left over. Now, most counties send that money back there. We decided, let's try to keep that money here to help our business climate. Small little initiative. What we do is an application that you go you go to Grow Monmouth, you go to the link facade program, you fill out a one-page application for the eligible towns that are in there, and what you will get is, for $1,800, we will come there and do some sort of an improvement, or you do it, and we will reimburse you some sort of improvement to the front of your building. Unlike anything that any other county does there. And it's at $1,800, but it's probably $1,800 that these small businesses would not do because it wasn't on the top priority of them. And, so the only caveat to that is, we hand you the check. We got to take a nice little photo op with the check there. We get some good advertisement there as commissioners, but it's a real good, feel-good thing. So, and lastly, we're always thinking. We're always trying to find a way. What is our next big creative initiative? Oh, let me also take a step back. Grow Monmouth, state comes out with Grow Monmouth. We have Made in Monmouth, now it's Made in New Jersey. Grown in Monmouth, now it's Grown in New Jersey. Stay tuned for this next one. It's about to come. So we decide
that low taxes.
Yes, yeah. We decide what could be our next initiative. Now amazingly, and I guess you could take this two ways, we have the most distilleries and breweries in the state of New Jersey. We probably have about 33 to 35 of them in Monmouth County. Now, You could take it. We have some good entrepreneurs, or we have a lot of people that like to drink at breweries and distilleries there. One way or another, we just have the most. So what we did is we created a program called Brewed and Distilled in Monmouth. And we're going countywide on it. And what we're not only promoting the business of the distillery or the brewery there, we're promoting the local eateries and areas that are around them, because obviously you can't, there's not food in those establishments. So eventually you have to eat there. So you hope that they utilize the surrounding areas there. So we're promoting all the surrounding areas. So we're really growing. I'm pretty confident that the state of New Jersey will come out with Brewed and Distilled in New Jersey very shortly, which was something we're very happy about, because obviously it means we're doing the right thing.
Oh, thanks for sharing that and really diving into the economic development part. And as you're hearing these different pieces of information and stories, you can tell, you just connect to the county and they'll guide you to the appropriate place. You're talking about tourism, which is such an incredible business. In addition to your other incredible team, I think we have your Director of Tourism, Carolyn Burtnick, is here, correct? There she is. Welcome, Carolyn. I'm sure they're keeping you incredibly busy. So, and everyone here, so thank you very much for coming. We're going to open it up for questions in a moment, but this is a bit of a preview of next month's Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce ChamberCast, and this is with permission from the director. February is Heart Health Month, and the reality is, by sharing information, sharing personal stories, people can connect either in their own world, or they may look within themselves and say, you know what, I know someone, there's someone in my family, maybe it's me, you know what, let's maybe save a life today. Can you share the story? And this is a preview, because February is National Heart Health Month. In addition to being, by the way, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person. Am I right? If you want to get something done, can you help us with?
Sure.
And let's save a life today.
So that
tell us
is a little bit passionate to me, and I'll tell you a small story that I really don't tell many people. I'm happy to say now about this. So I am a very active. I have a very big workout regimen that I do every day for years and years and years. I'm up out of my house at roughly, I think I was just talking to Matt about that before. I think I leave my house and I leave around 20 after 4 in the morning, as I did today, and work out. And
he calls me
4:30,
beforehand.
5 o'clock, we work out, 5:15, somewhere around there. We work out every day. And I work out with these 5, 6 guys every day. Actually, one of them's here. Brian Foster's here. And during that period of time, I started to notice something that was happening when I was working out and running, that I was starting to notice that I was getting I just couldn't finish and stuff like that, which was unique for there. And then we were running my race, the Pound of Pavement race, and I was struggling. I didn't acknowledge to the rest of my friends there what I was struggling about. I just acknowledged, I said, oh, I got a hurt ankle, because I didn't want to come to grips with it. And then the next day, I ran in a race called the Tunnel of Towers in New York, again with them same guys. And again, I could not finish. And I said the same thing, oh, it's my ankle, it hurts. Well, the following week, I was giving a presentation in Keyport, and I looked down at my feet, and they were like gorilla feet there. And I knew something was wrong. And I drove myself right to the hospital there, and I probably waited a little too long. And they diagnosed the situation that I was minutes away from stroke level because of how bad my valves were. It wasn't my heart, it was the valves. I could have chose to have them replaced, both of them. One with a pig valve, which I chose not to do because I felt I would probably have to get it done again in 10 or 12 years from now, and I didn't want to go through it again. Mechanical valve, I would have had to be on blood thinners my whole life, which I chose not to want to do. And the other alternative, because of my regimen, my workout regimen, I was a candidate for, was to have them repaired. But the only caveat to that is there's not many hospitals that do that. And fortunately enough, I was able to get into the Cleveland Clinic, and I left on December 14th, and I came down during the COVID period. That's why nobody knew, because everybody was inside at that period of time, so nobody missed anybody. And December 14th, and I came back somewhere around the beginning of January, my wife and I, and I had open heart surgery. I had them repaired, and today everything is absolutely perfectly fine. But the message to get out is do not take it for granted to think that you're indestructible and that it might be something else. It can't hurt checking. And so this month of February, Heart Health Month, is important and passionate to me. So
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
thank you.
And next month we'll have Dr. George Giannakopoulos here, as well as Jim Schatzel, former Mayor of Colts Neck and owner of Team Life, and Dr. Peter Ferrugios, fantastic cardiologist. We look forward to next month. So thank you for that. Sure. That's really important. So, folks, let's open it up for a few questions, and then the Commissioner Director is going to share some of the next big things that are going on in county, and we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much.
I think we just have a few more minutes left, so
Yes.
we'll do the questions quickly.
Okay, great.
First of all, Terrence and Jeannie, great job as always, and thank you, Commissioner, for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We're talking about health care, and I think one of the big challenges that we have in this great county is how we are going to address the national problem of the healthcare workforce, okay? And particularly on the low end, the non-skilled healthcare workforce. We have a great program with Brookdale, right? Pathways to Nursing, which I'm proud to be a part of, but we need a lot more of that kind of activity in order to grow that workforce. And I think also in the communities, we don't have enough of the low-end housing to support that and that spectrum of the workforce. Could you talk a little bit about what the plans are? What are some of your thoughts around how we can improve in that area?
So that's a great question. So the one thing that I will tell you is, and there's a misconception, affordable housing, when you say the word affordable housing and COA and all those areas, that people get that negative aspect. Oh, what are we going to have here? Can I tell you something? The people living in these units, okay, living in these apartments, condos, townhomes, they're the teachers. They're the nurses. They're those individuals. If you look at the median income salary in Monmouth County, it's that salary. That's what it goes by. There's a misconception. I'm a firm believer that that name should change, and I manage properties in in Florida, and guess what it's called? Workforce housing. And if you change the name to workforce housing, it will have that negative look on elected officials and people that live in areas that feel that they don't need that environment or they don't need the lower income housing. I'm a big proponent getting to our need for the education. I also believe you have to look at what the climate is the need from the climate. Nursing, teaching, trade unions. That's where, and I credit Dave Stout because he realizes all these initiatives too, and I speak to him regularly on this, that if we have to expand our roles in our community colleges for those services, there's no more plumbers. Nobody in high school saying, oh, I'm going to be a plumber. It just doesn't happen. But we need them. And we need the electricians. We need the nurses. We shouldn't have to go and be paying double the amount of money for nurses to come from Florida, Texas, and all those areas in our county, in our state. We should be able to make sure that we make it very rewarding for them to go to get that education and to be able to pay them accordingly so that they stay there and they want to be there.
Thank you, Director. Can we go over to this? Thank you very much for that question. Can we go over to the students? Thank you.
Good morning, John Marilla. Just to echo,
what year did you graduate?
You're not a student. I know that.
Commissioner Director Arnone's comments. I've had the privilege of working with him on several occasions, going back many, many years as an elected official, but not only that, as a business owner. And some of the things he spoke about today, I lived with him. Shared services in our town last year saved us approximately $30,000, and that's a penny on the tax rate. It doesn't seem like much, but it is. through Monmouth County. And during the COVID crisis, if it wasn't for the Board of Commissioners stepping up and being accountable to the business owners, we would have closed our doors. Not only did it help us keep our doors open, but it kept us employing employees. And that was great because no one got laid off during that crisis. Everyone got a paycheck. We didn't worry about ourselves. We worried about the people that we employ. And take advantage of someone like Director Arnone's comments. Not only does he listen, he delivers. And take it from me, I know firsthand. So believe me when I tell you, he is a great individual, and we're blessed to have him in our county working for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the students, and then Matt Dougherty has a question up front.
Hi, so we're all going to be seniors in high school next year, and many of our older friends graduate and move to big cities and start their careers, and we all love living here. What efforts does the county take to develop job growth here and encourage young professionals to stay in Monmouth County?
That's a great question. So I will tell you, it's very difficult for our youth to stay here in the state of New Jersey and even in Monmouth County. House prices are through the roof. Obviously, inflation is hurting. Interest rates are through the roof. Okay, in those areas, how do we expect our youth to be able to afford these homes? Thank God for people like that. Thank God for that to happen for people like myself that already have lived in my home for so long. But what about our youth there? And I'm going to give a perfect example. I have a daughter, who's a teacher in Asbury Park for 5 years there. She moved to North Carolina, to Wake Forest, in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Think about this. She bought a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage in Wake Forest, townhome, beautiful, $330,000. It would be $700,000-800,000 here. Her taxes are $1,800 a year. We're doing something wrong here, and what we're doing wrong here is I have never been a proponent, okay, of all county government, but we need to take a look through attrition of areas where maybe we can help more. I'll talk about an initiative at the end on what we're about to do, which will eventually save taxpayer monies, which, getting to your question there, we have to make it more affordable for you there, and we have to make sure that we give the education component side of those jobs that were just talked about to stay here in Monmouth County. It's a difficult situation right now. I know it's not just the state of New Jersey we want you to stay in. We want you to stay here in Monmouth County. You're our future. We're not the future here. And if we don't find a way, to keep our youth here that have the drive to be someday something very special, Monmouth County's not going to be what it is if we don't find a way to help you.
Well said, Director. Thank you.
I think we have time for what? One more question?
Yeah, one or two. And I know Mr. Dougherty has a question, so you 1 and 2, and thanks. And then we'll wrap it up. And the team, I think, will be here for a few minutes after, folks, too, as well.
Good
Go
morning.
ahead.
Thanks for having me. First of all, Tom Arnone, thank you for being here. Well, 2 things. Number 1, I called you about 10 years ago on a project, and you didn't even know who I was, and you were all in. So anyone who reaches out to him, it's going to be a great call and follow-up. The second thing, you got some media presence last week in reference to Tinton Falls and the waste management there. Sorry to bring it up at the end.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
It's a part of us. So
No, it's
tell
a
us
good point.
what's going on there.
So the bottom line is that was one of its government. Let me just state here. I'm a firm believer government does things good and government does things real bad. And I am a proponent of getting out of the real bad things there. The real bad things are we were not care service operators, and we got out of that business. We were not bridge tenders. We were not doing the right thing. We got out of that business, put it in the hands that can do it, and we were not landfill operators, and we got out of that business. 4 or 5 years ago, we had a major problem at the landfill. That was our problem, and I did not shy away from it. You know, I talked about all the good things here. There's a lot of times I have to go to things that are not that good, and that was one of them. Been working out great for the last 4 or 5 years. We engaged in a partnership with Waste Management. all of a sudden things seem to be turning around. There's problems. I will not accept it. I tell you right now, I've had a meeting with all of the residents of Tinton Falls, very unhappy residents of Tinton Falls, I might say, but we didn't shy away from it. And I promise them that either they will fix it or they will be gone. They're 100%, and somebody will be there. But I am not going to allow the residents of Tinton Falls, Ocean Township, Neptune deal with that odor. If they can't fix it, we proved we can't fix it, okay? We proved that we can make a smelly landfill. We're going to put the right people in there to make it work. I promise you on that.
Thank you. Mr. Dougherty?
Yes, I want to see if you can give us an update on Fort Monmouth.
Sure. Real quickly on Fort Monmouth, I sit on the board of FEMIRA now. I'm very happy to say that. Obviously, everybody knows the big elephant in the room is Netflix there. Netflix will be coming. I've met with them roughly about 6 to 7 times now there. It's a long process. It's a process that the county's going to have a major involvement through roads, areas that we're going to be taking some buildings and making community parking lots out of, putting solar on top of those parking lots like we did at Brookdale there, and it's going to be the hub of Monmouth County. But it's going to be obviously the arts industry, the movie industry. It's going to be the mecca of what they're about to build. But it's not the only thing there. You have a bunch of other housing component side. You're soon to have a lot of retail and commercial side over in the Oceanport side. You also have places like the Fort Gym. That's a very active area. It took a long time, a lot longer than I thought it should have taken. But at the end of the day, now it's driving.
Thanks, Director. One more question from a famous local realtor and friend. How are you, sir? Say hello real quick, and then we'll wrap, because we're going to go into the next big thing in Monmouth County. And away we go.
Are you aware?
James Lavin.
Yes, Jim Lavin.
Hey, Jim.
Are you aware that Bloomberg Philanthropies has just put in on the market an offer to high schools and grammar schools throughout the United States, and they put an incentive of $225 million to improve students in health care?
I am not. But I am going to look into that.
It's recent.
I'm glad you brought that up to me. We will definitely look at that.
If you have advantages of private money that's being given back,
that's a home run.
You got to take advantage of it.
100%. I would definitely look into that.
Thank you very much. We so appreciate your time. Can you share with us, the group here, perhaps for the first time ever, what's the next big thing in Monmouth County? What can they take with us from this meeting today?
We have on different sections of the county. I'm engaging with Tony Perry on our Belford Ferry, their mayor of Middletown, where they're doing a major redevelopment along obviously our Belford Ferry. We are gonna hopefully construct a gigantic parking garage, a 1,200 space parking garage there. What that will do, I'll offset the revenue, our debt service, by the solar that we're going to be putting on our capped landfill. I'll regenerate roughly about $750,000 a year from that, and then I'll offset the rest by the parking fees inside the garage that's not there now, that these people that are taking the ferry across to Manhattan are in the elements there. Plus, it will also allow the redevelopment, the housing component side, the redevelopment there, again, to have, the parking area. It will generate revenue for not just Middletown, but for the county, which will be shared along the rest of the area. Sheriff Sean Golden will come out with a major announcement with myself next week on a proposed EMS program that we're doing with numerous municipalities at the request of them there. And then lastly, I'm sure everybody read it in the newspaper, I've always been intrigued by the airport in Wall, and we're exploring our ability. Right now, it's on the very early stages. I can't divulge too much about it, but it marvels me when I can go to Mercer County, Ocean County, and those areas, and they have county airports, and somebody like Monmouth County doesn't, that can regenerate and generate revenue here. And not only that, a quality of life and a service that our residents, I think, are calling for. But it's going to see how it plays out there, and I'll be into negotiations if that comes, and I'm sure some very, very stringent negotiations if it does come to that period there. So those are some of the big things. And then, of course, the quality of life. We're always going to keep the parks. We got the best parks in the country. We got the best golf courses in the country. We got the best libraries. We got all those areas. We have to make sure we balance them. We're going to continue to balance them to make sure they're the best and improve them. But most importantly, we got to make sure your quality of life at an affordable price stays the way it is in Monmouth County.
Well said. On behalf of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Board of Directors, Therese and her team, we want to thank Commissioner Director Arnone for helping make sure that Monmouth County remains the best place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.